I think anytime, we're bringing people in the same industry together to network, to share ideas, it's a good thing.
Hey, this is John Bernadovich, president and founder of Willory and one of the organizers for DisruptHR Columbus. As you know, we've had to postpone our original event in the Columbus area, but we're continuing on the great momentum and enthusiasm we had by having a wide variety of video chat conversations with speakers, sponsors, and committee members. And today I am joined by Mike Carollo. Mike is the regional marketing manager at Workday. You can learn about Workday on their website at workday.com, or you can also connect on LinkedIn with Mike as he shares tons of great information about Workday and what they have going on in the community. So Mike, welcome, and I appreciate you taking the time today.
Thanks, John. My pleasure. I appreciate you having me.
You got it. So with all the goings on in the world, I'm curious, I know you mentioned this right when we hopped on, who's keeping you company in your office today? And I know you got the coolest background that we've had so far. So way to brand that. I can tell you're a marketing guy, so that's awesome.
I am definitely a marketing guy, and there's more where that came from. It's basically become a competition at Workday for most creative and craziest Zoom background over the last couple of weeks. So this one is the tame one. This is one I rarely use. So yeah, you should see some of them on our team calls. They're hilarious. So at my feet, I've got two dogs keeping me company. I've got my 3-pound Maltese with one eye named Pokey. And then on the other side is my 60-pound pit lab mix named Callie. So they're both asleep. My wife's a veterinarian, so that's where they both came from. They're both rescues. So they're always in good health. But yeah, it's definitely nap weather out in Philly today.
That's so cute. So you have a 3-pound Maltese with one eye. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. And then you have a pit bull mix, and they're sleeping right next to each other, like all the stereotypes on pits and all the little dogs and everything else. That's all false. Yep,
they're good friends. And my Callie, the pit mix, is the gentlest, sweetest dog you'll ever meet. She's great with my son. He turns 2 in June, and those two are inseparable when they're both awake. So. She's the sweetest. So yeah, that's who's keeping me company in my office. My wife and son are upstairs, and it's probably going to be an indoor day unless the weather changes drastically. So yeah, it's good to spend some time with you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Is your wife still able to continue her vet practice? I know obviously with some of the stay-at-home orders, I know what's going on in the world. I'm just curious about that as a pet owner myself.
Her practice is open. They have left up to the doctors on what's considered an emergency or not. So they're trying to limit the number of patients at each location. She actually is on a leave of absence because we're actually expecting our second child in the fall. So we just thought it was safer and a better idea if she just stayed home through her pregnancy at this point. So yeah, she's home every day with our son Nicholas and the dogs. So we're starting to kind of get used to this new kind of family atmosphere 7 days a week. So yeah, it's been a good time. It really has.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the upcoming new addition to your family, and
Thank you.
All the best wishes for her safety. And do you know what you're having? Have you found that out, or?
Yep, we're having a baby girl. So Nicholas will be a big brother to a baby girl in the fall. So
nice. I'm blessed to have a boy and a girl too in my life. It dramatically different. Same parents. I'm certain, pretty sure, but dramatically different experiences with both of them. It's fascinating.
I might be calling you for advice around the holidays.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. My funny story, when we brought my daughter Mallory home, we left like 3 days. It was right after Christmas, and we left to go to my mother-in-law's for New Year's Eve. And Will, my son, who was 2 and a month, looked at me and my wife and says, why are we bringing her? Isn't she staying here? So luckily we convinced him that it was okay to bring his kid sister, but it's been a unique relationship ever since.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm expecting. So
yeah. So as a marketing manager for Workday, why do you do what you do, Mike? What drove you to getting into the marketing space and your passion for it?
Sure. So I graduated from Villanova in 2004. and with a marketing degree. And I basically knew I wanted to go into marketing since high school. And on a general level, I just love the creativity and what I always call, having a blank slate. So whether it's a raw space at a venue or just a blank piece of paper where you're just brainstorming ideas for an event or a campaign, that's what I've always loved most. So I've been lucky to work in several industries over the course of my career over the last 16 years. So started at General Motors doing their sports marketing events in the East, and then went to the travel industry, and then the wine and spirits industry, and healthcare, software. I've basically, I've seen a lot across various industries, but it all still comes down to one common theme and one common approach, and that's creativity wins. No matter what you're doing and no matter where you are, the best idea always wins. And I think, on top of that, you can have a great idea, and then the execution is a close second in importance, I think. So seeing it through and just being, a good company, a good brand, a good person, which Workday certainly is, and my teammates and I certainly are. So I think that's, I wouldn't even call it a close third. I think that's more the umbrella above anything you do, is I think being respected and being professional. So I've definitely landed at a place I want to probably finish my career at, I'm proud to say. And I think over the last 6 weeks, that's become even clearer with how Workday has been as a company, and how we've come together as a team. So I think work is fun, but the last 6 weeks it was harder, I think, for all of us, right, to have fun at work, because it wasn't the same, and there was a lot of worry and a lot of apprehension and a lot of change. But I really am proud of how we've all kind of rolled with it. And certainly not calling it business as usual. That's actually the last thing we'd ever say. But I think we've been very creative and very agile, and it's been great to see. I mean, it's been fun, just in a different way. So yeah, that's why I went into marketing, is because there's always that great idea out there, no matter what. So that keeps me going.
Yeah, creativity and invention with the combination of execution and great people and a great company. That's a pretty lethal combination for kicking some butt in the marketplace. So that's good for you, Mike. So as it relates to COVID, I know you mentioned your wife, your wife's practice, your role, et cetera. Has there been any other personal impact to you, Mike, as it relates to COVID-19?
No, thank goodness. No one in our families, no friends have had it. So, and I have a lot of family. Most of my family's in New York. So luckily everyone has been very safe and healthy throughout this whole thing. But, being in Philly and being in New York, between our families and friends, we've been very lucky not to know anyone. So thank goodness. I don't think it's going to be over soon. And personally in PA, it sounds like our county is going to be the last one to reopen. So I think we have another month or so at least. But to me, that's fine. If it means friends and family not getting sick, that's, I think, a nice trade-off.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, that's a blessing, which I'm sure you're thankful for every day. That being said, I know we've had all these, you said this is not business as usual. And I know people have mentioned new normal. I say temporary normal because I don't want this to be the normal.
Right.
Budding that, we had the before COVID, we're in the during part, and then what the after looks like. So I'm just curious if and any new experiences or things that you've done relative to the shift in your work. You mentioned some collaboration with your friends or colleagues and backdrops. I mean, anything that's come out of this, so you're like, oh my gosh, it's a really great idea that came out of this, to your point of great ideas that we want to keep doing?
I think the most obvious change and most obvious, I think, positive from the last 6 weeks has been the comfort level of going virtual. I think we've all become Zoom experts. I think to the point where, like I was saying before, we're having fun with it now. That's the level of comfort we have with hosting events digitally and going virtual. So I think I have no doubts April 30th will go off without a hitch. I think everyone has become more comfortable with it and developed an expertise. And not to say that, you know, when things do start to go back to normal and in-person events return, that those are going to be phased out. I just think that now we have an equal comfort level, or much closer than we used to, with in-person and virtual, which is great because we're connecting globally, we're connecting regionally like never before. So that's some really great events that we've already done that we have planned for May and June.
Yeah, I will say, having worked through the logistics of trying to put on an event with 250 people at a venue is drastically different than pulling off this virtual event we're going to do on April 30th.
Right.
I won't say it was a click of a few buttons, but it was a click of a few buttons and a few emails and a collaboration and
right.
Interesting. That ease of use, that turnkey aspect of it, I think is certainly unique. But so you mentioned Workday and how you want this to be your last stop in your career, and they've done some really cool things relative to supporting your employees and your customers. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that in a response to COVID-19?
Yeah, and I've been keeping in close touch with my family and friends, and I've heard a lot of stories about how their companies are managing this crisis and this change. And I've heard a lot of stories that when compared to Workday, they make me feel very fortunate. I've yet to hear a story that really shines above Workday. I think, I might be biased, but from what I've seen and heard, Workday is managing this as well as I could ever imagine. Between just the information, the communication, the resources, specifically just daily communication on Slack and over email, and letting us know updates and that we're going to be okay in terms of job security, and the company is going to be okay, and letting us know that we're not expected to have the same schedule every day. Family is most important. Our health is most important. We did something a couple weeks ago that was just unbelievable. We had literally everyone in our C-suite, from Anil down, our CEO, on Zoom, just having a Q&A with the entire company globally, just on a regular Zoom meeting. And we were just firing off questions, and they were answering in real time from their living rooms. And to be able to do that, and it went as well as it could have. I mean, it was flawless. And I think it was really important to feel like, literally everyone at Workday is in this together. We're all in our living rooms, in our pajamas, or in our Workday polos, and we're all doing the same thing every day, from the CEO on down. So those are just a couple examples of why it's been a positive experience in many ways, because it's shown who we are as a company and as a culture. And the communication, the support, the resources, to me, are the big three, where even sending an email, we have templates that facilitate just sending emails. So we as a company have the same voice. We know how to, engage with business partners and customers and prospects. We're not creating our own messaging. We're one voice, kind of one family, whenever we are working. So that kind of support is really nice, not just because it makes our jobs easier, but because it feels like we're going to get through this, and the light is starting to show at the end of the tunnel in a lot of states. That reopening is being discussed. So now we're like, all right, I think we made it through the worst part, and we did that together. So we could definitely make it through the last couple months together, for sure, if we've made it past the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's such a unique comfort, and you should feel lucky and privileged, because I know a lot of companies that aren't able to do that. And I give your leadership and your organization credit for that. It takes a lot of sacrifice, and I know I can feel it in your voice, right?
They're
no doubt
unbelievable.
about it.
They really are. It's an excellent group of people, an amazing group of people.
So as Workday is a leading edge HCM and beyond technology, obviously a lot of human resource professionals and payroll professionals, accounting professionals leverage your tool and technology every day. What are you hearing from them through maybe your own direct interactions, as well as through your colleagues in sales and service and executive suite? Like what are your customers saying about how they're going about supporting their employees and organizations through this unique time?
So it's been great to see how I think sales prospects, right, potential customers have been asking us, how can Workday benefit us in a time like this? And really, we just turn to our customers for examples, because in real time, our customers are seeing the benefit of Workday and being cloud-based and being agile. And, you know, we're hearing stories from all over the world about companies not just going live with Workday despite everything going on, but current customers who've been using Workday already for years, the ease of their business when business is anything but easy right now. And Workday has been a big part of that, and it's been a tremendous resource for them. So it's just great to hear, and that's what keeps us all going. And I think agility is really like the key word, and the fact that really when you're cloud-based like Workday, it's much easier to continue your operations and adapt. So that's just some of the positivity that we have, you know, coming from the field is people saying, wow, thank goodness we have you, because I'm not sure how we would have managed our payroll. I'm not sure how we would have managed, you know, X, Y, or Z if we didn't have Workday. So it's really great to hear and see.
Yeah. Excuse me. I recently did a webinar about virtual interviewing and virtual onboarding. And over half of the companies that were on there were over 240 people registered. Over half did not have a virtual platform for onboarding or for video interviewing. And the majority of those companies were still interviewing. So it created a unique kind of business problem that all of a sudden, hey, you want me to hire these people or you want me to interview them? How do I do that? I normally do it with a piece of paper, or they come in the office and sign all this stuff. What do I do now? Right,
exactly. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's nice to hear. And whenever, you know, we're talking to a prospect and they ask, we don't have to look very far, and we don't have to look very far back in the past. I mean, this is as of yesterday, we heard a new story about, you know, a customer saying what I said earlier, just thank goodness. We never would have been able to do this without you 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that being said, I know that Workday has been a global supporter of DisruptHR, and really appreciate Workday's support of our concept in Columbus. And I know Mike will be showcasing you and our other sponsors on our 4:30 event coming up here, that virtual roundtable. We have almost all of our speakers going to be on that, available to answer questions, which we've gotten from the community on things that are timely around, you know, remote work and leadership in a crisis and a wide range of topics. So really appreciate your support. And so, Mike, tell me your personal experience with DisruptHR from a regional marketing management position in Workday, as well as your enthusiasm for the Columbus event.
Sure. This is going to be my first DisruptHR event personally. So I'm looking forward to the virtual session. I'm looking forward to in person down the road, right, when we all are back together again in the fall, hopefully. I think anytime, you know, we're bringing people in the same industry together to network, to share ideas, it's a good thing, right? I think it's going to be great next week virtually, because I think like we were saying before, everyone is building that comfort level, and people are kind of coming out of their shell on Zoom a lot more than they used to. So I have no doubts that April 30th will just kind of be the first chapter in, you know, a tradition in Columbus and of the other market of, you know, getting together and sharing ideas and best practices.
Well, cool. Yeah, if you haven't experienced it, now April 30th will give you a little bit of a slice, but not anything near it. But as you mentioned about the good ideas, like this is the best HR conference idea that I've seen since I've been in this space for 20 plus years. And when we put on the event and you're there, or your customers are there, they'll be like, wow, that's different. And that's in some respects better. And I liked it more. Let's do it again. So
exactly.
Well, cool. Well, Mike, I really appreciate you taking the time. Continued safety to your wife and your family, extended family, immediate family. Keep those 2 dogs friendly and loving, which is awesome. You got colleagues and friends, and I appreciate you taking the time. And again, a quick reminder to everyone, April 30th, we're going to be doing a virtual roundtable session, 4 to 5 o'clock. So please join us then. This is John Bernadovich signing off, and thank you, Mike, for joining us.
My pleasure, John. Thank you, and best wishes to you as well.